Welcome back to game number 2 for the GameShow Global Esports Chinese playoffs to decide who will go on to Vilnius for the Dream versus Invictus Gaming. Game number 2. Game number 1 looking really good for IG. It felt like nothing was going wrong for them. I really like the mech purchase from the Lina, and the play all around the board was on point. It really felt like For the Dream didn't have control of their own fate in that game. They had a very specific timing window that they were looking to hit. Big mid-game team fight group up that never happened, and IG were able to avoid that team fight and only fight when they were the ones calling the shots. And they were fairly often. There were a couple pickoffs here and there for the Dream, and the laning stage looked pretty solid for them, but most of their kills were isolated in that laning stage. Juggernaut starts out 3-1, Undying starts out 4-0, and after that, everything just kind of stops cold. And a lot of that came down to the Night Stalker too. The Aghanim Scepter vision that's offered there is so terrifying to play up against, and For the Dream are going to snag that for their first pick this game. And the response from IG is going to be the Clockwork Ancient Apparition. Clockwork AA, a lot of global ganking potential, and it also soft bans a lot of the very scary heroes, most notably Alchemist. Which may or may not have been a decision that For the Dream wanted to go for. Still, a lot of drafts, even if they aren't going to involve one of those hard countered heroes like a Slark or Huskar, Necrophos, one of those very sustain-based carries, are usually going to involve a lot of healing power, like the Undying, the Healing Word from the Juggernaut, or a Cold Embrace from Winter Wyvern, or a Dazzle's Weave Wave rather, that are very much shut down by this Ancient Apparition. I think it's a decent way for IG to start out their draft. A little bit of change of pace coming out from them, maybe more pickoff oriented than the last game. To follow up this Night Stalker pick for the side of FTD, not exactly sure what it's going to be. Could be anything really though, and it's going to be the Lina. FTD. If you can do it, we can do it better. The Lina and the Night Stalker were a large portion of the aggressive core coming out from IG that held down the fort as Luo farmed. Now let's see how the draft progresses from here on out. FTD. They're definitely not going to get the entire draft from IG in game number 1, and I'm not sure how similar their game plan is going to be. I have a feeling that FTD are not going to put their faith in a Naga Siren or one of those harder farming cores. They want to get aggressive on this map, and they want to push down IG very early on, or at least fight them at their own game and go for these pickoffs. Spectre will be the ban coming out from FTD, an incredibly scary carry when you combo that with the global presence of the Ancient Apparition Clockwork. Now, Darkseer the ban coming out from IG. Something that we didn't see at all in the first game, which is pretty surprising. Darkseer is so very popular right now, and I think he deserves this ban slot. Night Stalker Lina is pretty open-ended. Start to your draft, Lina can do it all. We saw safe lane farming Lina in the last game. You'll see her in mid, you'll see her as a support. Depends on the matchup, depends on the game. And similar for the Night Stalker too. Can be thrown in the offlane solo, can be thrown in the offlane in a dual lane. Can be a polling support, although that's my least favorite way of seeing him played, or even throw him mid. If the situation arises, that's actually an option. Right now it doesn't feel like it will be, though. Invictus Gaming have the chance to pick up the Queen of Pain here, and I don't think they're going to pass it up. We saw how powerful, though, that Night Stalker Silence in particular is at stopping the Queen of Pain. And maybe that's going... Excuse me. To dissuade Invictus Gaming from going for that this time around. The Clockwork Ancient Apparition is so self-contained as far as combos go. You don't really need anything else. With just those two heroes, it's really hard to directly counterpick them. It'll be an anti-mage ban from IG. And a gyrocopter pick. Fair enough. The gyrocopter for IG, a lot of early fighting power. Once they get their ultimates online, that's all these heroes really need to do a lot inside the team fights. Of course, gyrocopter has good late game scaling with the flat cannon, a lot of AoE damage inside the team fights in general. But if nothing else, just give this guy Phase Aquila Bracer, get him level 7 with Rocket Barrage, Call Down, throw him into the mix, and you're going to get stuff done. The amount of magic nuke damage from Invictus Gaming is nothing to scoff at for FTD. And feels like they're kind of in their comfort zone. Now it's a Dusk for FTD. Another one of these heroes that's seen very popular, or seen very often, and is very popular right about now. Offers a massive amount of utility for the single target pickoffs that I think FTD are going to be looking for quite often in this game. It's really going to be second to none. Especially good at finding this Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition tends to want to be a little bit further away from the rest of the team. Split push a little bit. Get a little bit of split farm as the rest of IG's team are out looking for your team fights, or Clockwork's looking for picks, and then just throw those Ice Blasts here and there. Maybe that'll be good enough for FTD to punish that. But now Witch Doctor for IG really can make it hard for Tuska Nightstalker to get aggressive. The Paralyzing Cask is an annoying tool now in IG's repertoire to stop those aggressive dives. FTD still have a mass amount of damage, and Templar Assassin now added to the mix is going to add a huge amount of physical burst to that. As the Ancient Apparition and Witch Doctor are very low HP pool heroes, at least until they start building into those Aghanim Scepters, but even then, we saw how powerful Templar Assassin can be once she gets that Blink and Desolator up and running. Juggernaut and Viper will be the last bans, and Bristleback the last pick for IG. Alright then. Bristleback was not the first hero to come to mind. This is going to be the mid lane for IG, I want to say. Ferrari Bristleback to go against the Templar Assassin. We've seen a couple of interesting matchups against the TA as of late. Just in the last game, the Juggernaut came as a pretty big surprise. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't get the chance to watch a lot of these Chinese teams very frequently outside of international tournaments. But the Bristleback... yeah. Not sure how well he fares against the TA in lane. Just buy a stick on this TA, and she should be just fine. Is this a mid-gyrocopter for IG? You know what? I'm not 100% sure, but the upside to this Bristleback is the fact that he is going to be very tanky and not very vulnerable to getting instantly bursted down inside these fights, which is usually what FTD are going to be looking to do. Still, this Bristleback is not without his weaknesses. There are a lot of kiting tools for FTD. The Ice Shards, the Stuns from the Lina, the Slows from the Templar Assassin, and also the Crippling Fear significantly decreases Bristleback's damage output inside the fights. I mean, Quills are still awesome, sure. But a lot of Bristleback's power comes from his ultimate and being able to wail on heroes once he gets those Warpath stacks up. The goal here for the Bristleback is to run interference and allow the Gyrocopter to get his damage out inside the fight. But now with the Wraith King for FTD. And as Bristleback pick, I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see how it works. It looks like Ferrari's going to pick it up. The Wraith King now for FTD is going to round out their lineup as a safe lane farmer to offer a little bit of setup stun for this Lina. And if this Wraith King gets stacked, IG, I'm not sure if they have the damage, or quite enough damage to deal with the Wraith King. I like FTD's lineup quite a lot, and I think this is a decent way for them to be able to come back in a Game 2 victory against Invictus Gaming. Only a slight advantage, though, from the draft. I don't think we can call it convincingly towards either side. With Queen of Pain still in the pool, or at least I think she was, the last ban from FTD was the Viper, unless I'm completely missing something, which, granted, definitely might have happened. Invictus Gaming just wanted to play the Bristle. Ooh. Yeah, I'll defer to their better judgment. A Ferrari, an incredibly good player. Let's see how this turns out for them. Everybody's going to head out to their lanes. You'll have Luo playing on the Gyrocopter, presumably safe lane. Chuan on the Witch Doctor, rocking the Ribotar. So we'll have to see how a little frog is able to be effective for their side. Chuan just spamming out Aegises. Not sure what that's all about. Oh, forget about that. Ferrari on the Bristleback, I've already mentioned. Super on the Ancient Apparition. And, oh dear. I am actually the worst. I'll be Rabbit on the Clockwork. I have no idea why it was so hard to remember Rabbit's name. I really don't. For FTD, still not 100% confirmation on who these players are, and for the most part, I won't be able to pronounce them, but at the very least, XCT is going to be your last remaining member of For the Dream. He should be loading in pretty soon, playing on the Night Stalker. And let's see how long he's accompanied by the Tusk down the bottom lane. Tusk Night Stalker is a reasonably adept dual lane, but fighting into the Gyrocopter Witch Doctor AA seems almost impossible. The amount of damage that those three are able to get off just by being 3 range heroes with Chilling Touch, by having Rocket Barrage, is insane. And maybe having 2 melee heroes in that lane is actually going to be a bit more of a hindrance than a help. The defensive Snowball is nice, I suppose, to help out the Night Stalker, but this could prove to be difficult. Maybe even throw the Night Stalker into that just safe lane pulling position that I was describing in the draft. The Clockwork isn't going to have a great time either, but at the very least, you'll get some experience in the Night Stalker there, and Tusk has a better chance of survival down that bottom lane. Well, Yep, just calling for a pause. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But if you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in to the GameShow Global Esports Cup. This is a best of 5, IG versus FTD.A. IG currently up game number 1. Whoever wins this moves on to Vilnius for the studio LAN there, which should be a lot of fun. And whoever loses is unfortunately eliminated. A lot on the line for both of these teams. And hopefully we'll be getting underway soon. Yeah, back to the draft a little bit. It feels like the kiting issues for IG and for FTD are definitely there. This Wraithking and the Bristleback are not going to have a perfect time this game. There's so many walls to be thrown up in the middle of these fights. You have the Ice Shards, you have the Cogs from the Clockwork, stuns flying every which way, a lot of slow on either side, and it really is going to be interesting to see how effectively both of these teams are going to be able to work around them. Tusk's defensive snowballs, especially against the Witch Doctor's ultimate, are going to be fairly annoying for IG to deal with. They do have a lot of ways to punish FTD from putting a lot of heroes inside that ball, though. And the good go is going to come out. We'll have to see how these lanes pan out and how everything settles down in this game as a whole. Lina is going to be playing in that support role. No big surprises there. And Templar Assassin is going to be going mid. Expecting potentially the Bristleback, and Ferrari is going to be playing on that Bristleback and hasn't swapped at all. Should be going mid, especially with these starting items. Templar Assassin will probably send herself out the magic wand before the bottle even. It is just that important to have it against a quill spamming Bristle. Both of these heroes are very good at farming Ancients. There should be a lot of focus on the Ancient stacks for both sides. It is a very valuable asset. IG, although Bristleback might not be able to farm them as quickly as the Templar Assassin, they can do them about the same time. Once you have maxed out Refraction for the TA, once you have maxed out Quills for the Bristle, and also the Gyrocopter should be taking those out too. I wonder how early those Ancient stacks are going to come out. I expect pretty quick. As long as somebody has the time to make them. Sure. Whenever you're going for the runes at 2 minutes in, you walk up to that ancient stack, pull it down, pick up that rune, and similar for the Templar Assassin, can do about the same. The supports might be a little tied up in their respective lanes and won't be around that area too often. But we'll just have to see. Looks like sentries are going to be pulled out for the Ancient Apparition and for the Lina as well. Maybe just the obs for her. Did you sell her sentries? Regardless. Bounty Rune apiece. One for the Bristleback, one for the Templar Assassin. Bristleback almost has his bottle. Just one branch is his starting items. Lina is going to block for the TA. Ancient Apparition is going to block for the Bristle. Should be a pretty even one for either side. If anything, favors the Radiant a little bit more. But it looks like it's going to be almost dead center. And it will be. Templar Assassin looks like she's going to prioritize the bottle over the wand first. She'll get both of those items eventually. Getting the bottle faster allows you to spam the refraction a little bit more liberally. Against the Bristleback, I think it's definitely worthwhile to pick up the wand just from the get-go. Still, it's not going to change her plans too much. The killing potential across the board, I'd expect it to be one of the offlaners to give up first blood here. The Clockwork Just against the raw man of stunning action, Wraithfire Blast and Light Strike Array usually means dead Clockwork if he's just a little too far forward. And bottom lane, Tusk also, if he doesn't have the mana like now to use his Snowball, or if they're able to force out the Mango, that could get sketchy. But Tusk, it is worth noting, has started out with a lot of starting mana regen. This looks more like getting Earthshaker off lane when it comes to his build. Just to be able to spam out those charges of the Ice Shards as much as possible and keep the lane pulled back to the best of his ability. And he will be able to trap in these creeps nicely. This is going to ensure a little bit of experience for him, but not a lot. Two supports, the Witch Doctor and the Ancient Apparition, are back over in the sidelines pulling, denying away a couple of waves. They can do this almost non-stop. Both of these offlaners can't punish pulls. But Clockwork's ward has not been taken away. This is a very common D-ward spot in order to be able to take out most of the wards. And it covers almost the entire box, with the exception being this little corner here. This is just on the edge of that spawn camp boundaries. And that's going to give Clockwork a slight edge over the Tusk. Both of these heroes can abuse the creep equilibrium. But FTD don't have the access to pulls nearly as easily. The Clockwork can interrupt that just by aggroing it earlier with the flare. It's still on the dire side, having access to that side pull is pretty good. And they're going to open up onto Rabbit. They have the Void. Wraithfire Blast is there. Do they even need another Light Strike? I don't think so. And Lena's just going to be able to right-click him down. Clockwork, a little too far forward in the lane. And with just that much stunning action, it comes as no surprise that he's going to go down. Still, the other lanes are looking good for IG. Bristleback's farming up in mid. Free farming at that. 13-2 compared to 9-4 in the Templar Assassin. She's not too far behind either. It's a pretty close to even lane, but that's just fine. But bottom lane, the Tusk also might be giving up a kill here. Defensive Snowball does give him a slight edge over the Clockwork when it comes to survival. He has the Ice Shards. Can he get out to safety? No. He actually just walked right into the Bristleback. There was no other way for that Tusk to get out to safety, even after delaying a little bit and stopping some of the Maledict damage. That's going to make this game very close to even and slightly IG favored. How many CS is Tron getting on this Witch Doctor? Of course, those are neutral creeps from the pull, but still, this Witch Doctor is getting a lot more farm than you'd expect. This is going to have the boots already up and running, stick TP. Now the Tusk is going to have to do battle against the level 3 Witch Doctor. Not something that most heroes would want to manage. Constant pokes, and that's how it's going to be. There is some rotation potential from these supports. As a whole, though, it feels like this early game is going to be fairly passive. The ancient stacks for either side have not been made up yet, and it looks like they're going to wait until further down the line in order to make that happen. Yeah, but just in these passive lanes, it really is very close to even. Slight advantage for IG, but it's only 200. That is one of the smallest advantages you're ever going to see. And I'm not even sure if we can call it a convincing lead. Now that it's nighttime for FTD, they do have a Void, but 3 stacks of Quills. And fighting that Bristleback is terrifying. He has a couple bottle charges left, and they really just don't want to do battle against Ferrari. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who this passive laning stage favors. It really is going to be the mid game that's formative of who gets the lead, who's winning these fights. For now, everybody is kind of on even footing. Oh, Clockwork walking a little far forward. They know he is here, or at least around the corner. They have the Void there to open up. Light Strike Array is there to follow up. Wraithfire Blast is going to be layered a little bit. Doesn't matter. They'll be able to kill him off the second time. Clockwork is playing very greedy in this top lane, trying to get as much experience as possible, and it is going to cost him his life. And Tusk is getting a little bit more because of these constant deaths coming out from Rabbit. Still, or not Rabbit. I'm confused. Regardless, we'll just move on. And back into the game. Ancient stack number 3 up for the Radiant side as IG are going to prepare that for their Bristleback. So even though they're killing off the Clockwork, having that Ancient stack bigger for the Bristle probably means a little bit more than the Clockwork dying once or twice. Still able to contribute as long as he just gets the experience, excuse me. The ward down, placed by XCT, is going to go ahead and block out that Ancient stack. Only 3, you really want to have 4 before you take it as the Bristle, but 3 will suffice. It's more than what the Templar Assassin is getting. There is a chance that FTD are able to steal it, though. That's going to be one of the biggest things that they can look to do this game. D-ward, successful by the Clockwork, going to tangle it up with a little bit of help from the Witch Doctor. And now it's going to make another stack. Again, a lot of emphasis put on these Ancients here. Clockwork can't go into the top lane convincingly anymore. What he's doing now is as useful for the team as he can be. And still is level 3. It's still enough to where he's able to contribute, though. If you switch these positions, I think the Tusk is able to do a little bit more than the Clockwork with level 3, just having those Ice Shards well off, but Tusk is getting closer and closer to having that ultimate up and running. They've moved the Gyrocopter more into the woods, and he is going to start farming this up with Call Down even inside his medium stack, and with the Flat Cannon is able to give a lot of space to this AA. Still, the AA is not 100% safe, though. Even just by himself, the Tusk can put a lot of damage, even get close to killing off the Ancient Apparition. It'll be a lot more convincing if you brought down the Lina, but here's your Ancient stack being farmed for Ferrari. I actually feel like they're using the map a little bit more effectively, and a lot of it comes down to the nature of the heroes. FTD's ability to jungle farm is pretty limited until the Lina gets higher levels. So much gold for the Bristle. His CS is slightly behind that of the TA, and the TA is going to make an Ancient stack of her own, or at least try to. That last pull, I don't think that was successful, going to remain a 2-stack for her. But Bristleback's now the top net worth in the game. This is even before he farms up these last big creeps. Ferrari is getting pretty banged up here as the stick charges to sustain. Clockwork Flare is going to be thrown onto the Ancients to scout out how big the Templar Assassin stack is. And Bristleback is going to be able to take this out. Up to 1,000 gold on top of his power treads, bottle, everything you could want as a Bristleback at this point. He is terrifying, and it looks like he's going to go for the mech. Ancient Apparition going to get dove by the Tusk and Night Stalker. Here's the cast, and the Rock Barrage damage will kill off XTT in return. The Tusk looking for a TP out that should succeed. There's not another way for them to be able to cancel that TP outside of the cast that they've already thrown. Not sure if that's 100% worth it for FTD. You want to get this Night Stalker active, and getting the gold for the Tusk and Night Stalker is pretty good. Getting that level 6 for the Tusk is very useful for you, but they give that away to Luo. And this Night Stalker is not able to do very much with this first nighttime. And a lot of that comes down to him just being played as a support. The Wraithfire Blast and Light Strike Array up Ferrari, but it doesn't seem like this Bristleback actually cares. He'll be able to casually farm up in top lane as they free up this mid space for the Clockwork. I like this rotation a lot coming out from IG. This is going to make them feel a lot better about their Clockwork spot in this game. It's going to make up for the fact that his laning stage was suboptimal. Bristleback, if he started out in the off lane straight up, would have had a very hard time. But now, after this early advantage, now after being the highest farmed hero in the game, being level 8 is huge. Templar Assassin, as she tries to farm her Ancients, is going to get blown up by the Gyrocopter. Gyro's around the corner. They have the Void here from XTT. But Night Stalker's just casually passing through, at least until the Tusk is here. Luo wants to farm these up. Another Rocket Barrage is going to be thrown. Luo running towards the north, gets voided up again. The Tusk is coming in from the south pretty quickly. Luo, run, Gyrocopter. Can you fly away here? The Ice Shards are a little bit too far away. With another Void, they're going to be able to get in range. The Snowball chasing is going to connect. Walrus Punch, Ice Shards gets the kill. Gyrocopter will be punished for his greed. Still killing the Templar Assassin there is really useful for IG. Of course, it costs them the Gyrocopter, but Gyro is still a higher net worth than this Wraith King, and I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. Wraith King's going for more of a battle build, going for this Blade Mail, which I think is very good, especially against this Bristleback. But, yeah. This Bristle seems to be a huge problem for them. FTD are going to group up. They need to start finding pickoffs. They need to start punishing IG for getting so much out of this map and just using everything that's available for them, whereas FTD just haven't been able to. This is going to be 4 heroes versus Bristleback. I'm not sure who wins. Let's find out. Ferrari is going to get snowballed in onto. Walrus Punch is there. They have a lot of chain stun, and Ferrari is going to lose this bout as Selena gets in front of him for the Dragon Slave. Too bad he didn't have a lot more help, but similarly, Big Smoke and going into the Templar Assassin Rocket Barrage, and the Templar Assassin is going to drop in a mere matter of seconds. 4-5. Both of these mid laners are not having a great time in that last exchange, but the Bristleback almost has his mech. And the Templar Assassin's very far away from having a completed item. She has Trizakeela, very cost-efficient purchases for this time in the game, but not going to allow her to fight nearly as quickly as this Bristleback is. Bristleback's going to TP up towards top. Now he has a little bit of backup, potentially, from the sideline. Clockwork's around the corner, but doesn't have a hook shot. As long as it's not 4 heroes, Bristleback's fine. And right now it's not. And here comes the invis clock. Even without the hook, maybe they're able to kill off one of these supports, or maybe they're going to rotate towards mid. Where's the clock we're going to end up? They're TPing top again. They want to punish Ferrari for being so aggressive in this lane. It looks like they are going to succeed. They'll be able to bring down Ferrari. Just really getting a little cocky, but with so many quill stacks, almost takes down the reincarnation and the life of Lina. Mid lane rotation from the clockwork is going to be unsuccessful. That's nothing but a win for the Dream. Calm down a little bit, Bristleback. You're farmed. You're doing very well. Ice Blast? That's a reincarnation proc. That's a really big deal. Down on cooldown for 260 seconds, and now Clockwork's coming around the corner. Maybe you do TP to this top lane again. They do have ward vision around the sideline, so Wraith King will know if somebody's TPing up here. But if the Bristleback TPs, maybe just expects, you know what, Ferrari, you're tilting a little bit. Coming back to this top lane again, we'll respond in Forest, but he's going to have some backup this time around. Clockwork's going in for the long con. He hasn't been spotted by the dire side, I want to say. Although this ward around the corner is going to spot out rotations to the tower, it's not going to spot out the clock. They have the hook shot in. There is no ultimate for this Wraith King. He gets some TP support from the Night Stalker. Is that enough to save his life? Here comes Gyrocopter, paralyzing cast. Look at it go! And that's going to be the death of two of them. Double kill for Luo. Ice Blast. A little bit late. Doesn't matter. They got the kill so quickly. The amount of damage from IG is absurd. It really is. And now IG are going to be able to take a tier 1 tower. The trade for the Dream is that they will probably be able to kill off this Ancient Apparition in bottom lane. I don't think he gets out of here alive. He's been smoked on. He's stuck around. Inexperience range is going to be brought down. Killing spree for the Lina. Not going to make up for the fact that IG are getting kills on more important targets, however. Or just a little bit more efficiently using their map resources. Despite being down 1 kill, they have almost a 3,000 advantage when it comes to net worth, and experience is more than 2k in their lead. They have a lot of fighting ability for this time in the game to match for the Dream at one of their strongest points. My goodness. And let's see what For the Dream can do in the next couple minutes of this game. This is the second nighttime phase. This is where they really want to pick up the aggression and start getting a lead, but it's so hard. This Bristleback, this Gyrocopter getting huge. And the Templar Assassin has been killed so many times that she tries to go for Ancient Stack, and they haven't been able to make that any larger for them. Templar Assassin's a lot further behind where she'd like to be at this point. Not that the Bristleback is too much further ahead when it comes to raw net worth, but when it comes to fighting power, he does have a very substantial lead. TPing down towards bottom lane. They want to cut off the side of For the Dream. They stuck around in bottom lane for quite some time. Level 1 Reincarnation has such an absurdly long cooldown. It's still not going to be back up for about 2 minutes. The dire side are going to spot out the Gyrocopter and the Bristleback as they make their way down towards this bottom lane. Looks like For the Dream want nothing to do with it. Wraith King's going to TP up towards top lane and start farming up. The item progression for the Wraith King is there. He has the Blade Mail up and running. Again, it's a situation where the Gyrocopter, even without the items, is fighting a lot more effectively, and Luo does have a substantial gold advantage over the Wraith King. Witch Doctor gonna fly out some wards towards himself. The ward vision from IG consistently is really amazing, and they're able to maintain it too. For the Dream just haven't been able to keep up. They have a couple of wards for themselves, but those are going to expire now. Double Damage Rune is going to be used by Templar Assassin to farm up some neutrals, but really it feels like IG are again in control of the game, even though they're not winning the fights now. They're getting items and getting map control that will allow them to take the fights much more convincingly in the future. If the tier 1 tower in bottom falls, that's the last remaining tier 1 for the side of For the Dream, and they haven't been able to put very substantial damage into any towers except for the one down towards bottom lane, which is pretty banged up, but also is going to require a lot more than just a handful of heroes down in order to kill it off. The Blade Mail on the Wraith King is almost going to be met by Blade Mail in this Clockwork, because he's picking up a lot more than the Tusk when it comes to farming space on the map. The Tusk has been involved in more kills, 2, 1, and 3 on the Tusk compared to 0, 2, and 3 on the Clockwork, but they've been freeing up the mid lane for him as IG are farming up in the jungle with their Gyrocopter constantly, farming up with their Bristleback, and giving the lane space to their supports and offlaner. The supports are on par with the enemy side. Of course, that's not bad, and there's not really a big lead there either. Another situation where this game is slowed down, almost to a crawl. IG are content. For the Dream, maybe not so much, but their window is getting harder to pull off. The Night Stalker's second nighttime has fallen through. We can call this a successful nighttime for XGT, as KD is by no means bad. It's just not enough to stop the Gyro from farming and stopping the Bristleback from farming, and at a faster rate than his cores. The late game power from IG is nothing to fight against, or really, nothing to scoff at. For the Dream, do have a good amount of scalability themselves, but really this first item pickup from the Templar Assassin needs to be something that's going to help them out a lot. IG going to continue going for D-wards on the enemy side, grouped up as 4. Are they going to start pushing, I wonder? We saw in the first game how aggressively it went once they got the mechanism for the Lina. The same can't be said for this game necessarily, outside of the tier 1 tower pushes, but yeah, Lua feels comfortable hammering away at that tier 2. Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane is going to be pressured by For the Dream, running away instantly as they recognize the rotations are coming. And they will succeed. Lina's just going to TP back to the tier 2 tower. She's not super unhealthy, I mean, not super the player. And now she's going to group up with the rest of her side. They weren't able to cancel with the hookshot. Maybe we're in for a big fight. The first one in a while. The Bristleback's mid lane, he has a haste rune available. Can get to this fight very quickly. And it looks like he's going to make this rotation now. We're in for a big engagement. Snowballing forward. They are going for this Ancient Apparition. Cooldowns onto the deck though. Paralyzing Cask onto 2. The Blade Mail onto the Gyrocopter. Dropping low. Incredibly low. Dragon Slave over the top. They'll lose the Ancient Apparition. Lina has already fallen. Can they chase down this Gyrocopter? Templar Assassin's going to try. Reincarnation proc. They'll bring down Tuan. One more crit from the from the Wraith King is there. As the Gyrocopter gets mopped up by the TA. That Blade Mail from the Wraith King really turning that engagement. Clockworks here has the help from the Bristleback. They'll kill off another. And now the Wraith King doesn't have his ultimate up and running. With the Templar Assassin's help, they'll blow up the clock. Double kill for the Wraith King and Templar Assassin both as they look to finish off the final member of IG. Get to the front of them. Those quill stacks really are going to start to do quite a number. But now that they bought a little bit more space, Ferrari, can he run out of this? I don't believe so. Wraith King's there to cut him off. They have the Fire Blast and they'll be able to bring down every single member of IG. That started out what looked like a pretty poor initiation coming out from FTD. The Snowball said they have the response from the Paralyzing Cask, but being able to get that Blade Mail out returns so much damage onto the Gyrocopter, and maybe that was just all planned from FTD. When you go for a Snowball like that, the natural response of the Gyrocopter is, hey, let's call down, let's Rocket Barrage. They've committed, let's turn this one around. I have a lot of damage, but no, Gyrocopter did most of the DPS to himself. Wraith King is just a little too tanky for him. Reincarnation is now level 2. I don't believe it was when it was procced at the beginning of that fight, so it is going to be down for about 3 minutes still. And FTD get a new lease on life, and they get a lot more space, especially for this Night Stalker, who, out of nowhere, has enough gold for his point booster if he wants it. Currently flying the courier out to the mid lane. Captain Bamboo, go back to base. Bamboo, rather. And he is going to hastily make his retreat. Interesting. Oh, Ancient Apparition, sorry for missing that kill. Is going to get blown by the TA. Missing kills left and right. The Lina also going to be isolated with the jumping power of the hookshot and the blink. Just a little bit off the mark there. 9-13 is going to be our kill score. I don't think those kills really change the state of the game all too much. I think IG are not going to feel nearly as confident as they were going into that original fight, but they're still confident enough to group up and farm. The net worth advantage is now pared down to 0, and the experience advantage is held by FTD. It's impossible to say who's winning this game, though, and it feels like IG still have command over the map. But going to Roshan, FTD, with the minus armor from the TA, with the slow from the Sigil, with the Wraith King, and the sustain, they can do this, but scout it out. They are going to get cold feet and run away. Tier 2 tower is already heavily being pressured by IG. They need to commit for this Roshan now. But it looks like IG are going to have their cake and be able to eat it too. Tier 2 tower is going to fall in their favor in just a second. There is no glyph available for the Dire, and they're going to be able to stop the Roshan from happening. Yeah, for the Dream. Take a big strategic loss there. Even though there's no fight to talk about on top of that. It really is. Very nice for IG. Flare? Gonna scout out the Lina? Or is it? I think it flew over her head. The Templar Assassin's pushing down towards bottom lane. It's assumed that she has a lot of backup behind her. But now they'll show the Wraith King in mid. The Wraith King is out mostly alone. They know he doesn't have reincarnation. They've taken down that timer, I'm pretty sure. And who's going to make the fight? It looks like nobody. They'll leave the Templar Assassin to farm down towards bottom lane. With the Blink Dagger, she's very elusive and is now working towards that Desolator. After an early advantage for the Bristleback, he hasn't been able to farm nearly as nicely as the Templar Assassin because of that last fight. 3, 2, and 2. As the Templar Assassin's KD at this point was able to get so much momentum from that last engagement with the rest of her team. Desolator is now done, and this is a good timing window for her to hit. The Midas is up for the Night Stalker for FTD as well, something to mention here. Both of the supports, or one support apiece, at least for either side, are going to be going for these Hands of Midas into Agnum's Scepter. One on the Ancient Apparition, one on the Night Stalker. Witch Doctor himself also benefits very heavily from the Ags, and so does the Lina, but it looks like Lina is probably going to go for a 4-staff this game, and Witch Doctor is going to straight rush it instead of going for the Midas first, which I think is probably a little bit better for him. BKB is now for the Gyrocopter. The bigger reason why they lost that last fight was because Luo was killed by that Blade Mail, and that's not going to be an issue for them going into this next engagement. IG now have the chance to start grouping up, now have the chance to start being proactive on this map and taking objectives. They'll also have, if they wanted, a Halberd on this Bristleback, which I think would be a pretty darn great pickup. Templar Assassin, this is going to have a BKB for a long time, after just freshly picking up the Deso. Sanjin Yasha is a great item on Bristleback too. I don't think you could knock that pickup either. But this game, I'm kind of feeling like Halberd's probably a little bit better at stopping for the Dream from doing what they want to. Hookshot in. They're going to catch out the Night Stalker. That was a really nice read coming out from this clock. And it looks like he's going to go down one way or another. The Ice Blast is coming through. He's going to walk back into the Clockwork. If he walks north, dies to the Ice Blast. Walks south, dies to the Clock. The Halberd's done on the Bristleback. The word... actually, wow, that was really good by the Clockwork. Templar Assassin is going to secure the HC Immortal, killed by the Dire as well. They're going to get up to high ground, blow up Chuan. BKB's popped by Luo, trying to turn around. This Wraith King has his ultimate though. They're focusing a lot of damage onto him, where they probably need to deal with this TA. She also has the HC Immortal, but that's going to be procced now. Coming back into this fight, they'll pop the Mechanism on the Bristleback, getting a lot of quills in this engagement. Ferrari is going to probably drop down here. Wraith King losing his ultimate here to one more quills is going to do that. The Tusk is going to be able to kill him off though. Templar Assassin back in the world of the living. Ancient Apparition getting pursued. TP attempt not going to survive with the Meld Strike. Double kill for the TA. It's for the Dream to take that last fight. At least I think so. They get the Roshan on top of a 2 for 4 exchange. And that's only 2 if you count the Aegis being dropped by the Templar Assassin. She survives pretty handily. That fight goes poorly because IG started out by getting their Witch Doctor demolished. The amount of damage from a Death Ward or even just a cask in that last fight would have been really good for taking that engagement. But for the Dream, are able to split up IG. Their supports are very squishy, brought down very easily. And the Gyrocopter, although he tries to join that engagement convincingly, isn't able to put up as much of a fight as he needs to, and the target that they focus on initially is that Wraith King. With 1500 HP and with the Reincarnation level 2, Wraith King is more than happy to soak up in the front line, even if he's not getting value from the Blade Mail with the BKB popped by the Gyro. And Wraith King is on his way towards having a Radiance up and running. This Radiance, I think, is going to be really, really good for the Dream. The squishy supports on the enemy side just can't stand inside that burn. It's 700 HP on the Ancient Apparition. A little bit more granted on the Witch Doctor, but still we saw how quickly he dropped down, and the amount of physical damage too from the Wraith King is not to be underestimated. Just with the Sacred Relic, it's a good chunk. Wraith King might end up getting kited around though, and that's one of the big things that IG could look to do in the next couple of fights, but not something that they have been able to accomplish, effectively at least. Tier 2 tower in mid is going to fall. But this also has some minor concerns for IG. It's great to get the map control. That tower, don't get me wrong, that's a great trade for them. They lose nothing in return. Are they really going to go high ground here? Huh. Are they strong enough to pull this off? Maybe. It's very close. The graphs right now are really not super far ahead for either side, with the exception being For the Dream getting a better experience trade. They'll TP down their Clockwork bottom, and with it they do need to back off. Can they back off cleanly? Here comes the Night Stalker chasing forward, but now it's daytime. Darkness has expired, and they are going to be repelled. Yeah, I think they were just trying to force the Templar Assassin back with that. But Templar Assassin kind of calls their bluff. For the Dream aren't scared of this. They have a very substantial experience advantage, which I think is the bigger thing. A lot of that experience is granted on the Templar Assassin, who isn't scaling as hard as like getting a level 16 on the Wraith King. Level 16 for the Wraith King means a lot more than level 16 on the Templar Assassin, with getting that reduced reincarnation cooldown. But still, For the Dream have this advantage, even though they're down towers, and by a lot too. IG have been very good at going for objectives. Oh, hookshot in. They're going up for top lane. They're going to try to chase down this Templar Assassin. A little bit more goose. Here's the call down. Going to be dropped onto the deck. Tusk is here with the defensive snowball, though. Over the top is going to be in melee range. The Tusk is going to go down for sure. Now with the Cold Feet proc, the Templar Assassin in a bit of trouble too. She is going to die. With the Rocket Barrage, they'll be able to kill off the first life of the Wraith King. Now looking for the second one. The Death Ward's still going. And with that frog doing his little dance, he'll be able to bring down a triple kill for the Bristleback. And just like that, one good initiation from IG, and this game feels right back in their favor. Still, For the Dream are able to transition into these tier 1 towers, and into these tier 2 towers that IG have already been able to nab. They'll be feeling a lot more comfortable. Still, IG recognize this window and are going to look to push it to its fullest. The Gyrocopter, is this going to be a Scotty next for him? Or even if it's not upgraded, a lot of stats for this Gyro to work with, and maybe he just goes for Manta to deal with the silence coming out from the Night Stalker. MKB feels like a natural pickup afterwards for the Gyro, just as a way to deal with the Radiance mischance, to deal with the Crippling Fear mischance if he isn't able to Manta that off, or BKB that off, something along those lines. But now, IG are going to go for high ground. Just a little bit of chip damage. I don't think they fully commit here, but maybe. Let's see. How ballsy are you today, IG? Looks like they're going to call the retreat. They stay about as long as they can without losing anything. They'll play things safe, as IG generally do. The Bristleback after that last fight is the real winner. IG, of course, take that engagement, but it's Ferrari to get the last hit on 3 of those kills after a somewhat mediocre mid-game. Bristleback's now getting early mid-game, I should say. But now he's getting a lot of momentum, working towards that Assault Cuirass, which is going to fix one of the big issues for both of these teams. It'll fix it for IG. Their ability to put damage onto these towers. The Desolator from the TA certainly helps, but Wraith King by no means is the greatest siege engine, and neither is the rest of the team coming out from FTD. Unless they have an Aegis, I don't think they can really convincingly go for that fight. We're going to have to wait for the Aegis of the Immortal to be claimed. IG are grouping up his 5-man unit, pushing down tower after tower, and forcing FTD to react. Templar Assassin's still top lane. They're going to get a little bit of damage on this tier 3, and tier 3 tower in mid is already really banged up. IG probably won't be able to fully commit here. They have the Manta on the Gyrocopter. I don't think that is go time for them per se, but it is going to put a little bit more siege here, and the Templar Assassin still hasn't called the retreat. She wants this tier 1 tower, and she is going to be able to get it. But tier 1, especially that tier 1 the off lane, for about 600 damage on the tier 3 tower in bottom, that's pretty good for this side of IG. FTD are finally getting into those tier 1s, but IG, it feels like they might continue going. I don't know. This is very risky for them, but if it pays off, the rewards are huge. They'll open up with a Void. Silence on the Gyrocopter. He does not have the Manta Cell to purge that off. And now they're all going to be slowed up by the Templar Assassin Trap. Still with the Voodoo Restoration going. A lot of mana on Chuan to be able to sustain his team, even with only level 1 Voodoo Restoration. IG are juiced up. Night Stalker's running in pretty quickly. They're hook shot in. Clockwork's going to find the Lina. Force staff away by the Lina. They'll buy themselves the space. The Ancient Apparitions, Ice Blast, and the Call Down both will miss. And it looks like they're fine. Templar Assassin blinks in the trees. Cogs are going to bounce her back. The Bristleback is going to be isolated towards the major portion of this fight. Ferrari's going to get silenced. A lot of his damage output is mitigated. Water's Punch is there, but with the Witch Doctor Death Ward from the sidelines, Wraith King's going to blow his ultimate, trying to chase forward for Chuan. Look at it go. The damage is now going to be stopped. Throws the cast, trying to run away from this Wraith King with the Desolator. The Templar Assassin's going to mop through the Clockwork. Low, incredibly low. And the Witch Doctor is going to get the kill on the Wraith King at the cost of the Ancient Apparition's life. Buyback from the Clockwork. They want to get back into this. for the Dream really need to respect IG at this point. They lost their Wraith King. They probably get a better exchange in that fight, especially with the buyback coming out from the Clockwork. But now things get interesting. IG are going to walk in the Roshan pit. It has the potential to spawn Ferrari, gonna destroy the TP, destroy the Magic Wand. And a little bit of gold away. It's a 2-minute respawn. A very middle of the ground, slightly longer than average. Roshan respawn timer. IG really wish it was right now. If it was the shortest possible Roshan respawn timer, they probably would have been able to get that. Wraith King not willing to buy back for that situation. The Zolkiras is almost done on the Bristleback, and as far as other item progression coming out from IG, we're getting closer and closer to the Aghanim Scepter on Witch Doctor. In fact, he's only 250 gold away, near enough. This is going to be a crazy amount of damage in these next couple of fights. Chuan always seems to find the perfect angles to drop that Death Ward. 1, 2, and 10. You'd have expected this Witch Doctor to have died a lot more this game. It does come at the cost of Super's Ancient Apparition. The AA is really kind of poor. I don't think there's another way to say it. Doesn't have his Midas. I don't think he goes for Midas anymore, but then again, what else does he build? The Ancient Apparition has level 11, and that's the more important part than the items on A. If he lands the Ice Blast, they're still going to be impactful. Now, everything's slowed down as IG, for now, have fallen back, but they're getting this next round of items. The Selkiras is done for the Bristleback. The Demon Edge is up for the Gyrocopter, working towards that MKB, and he finds the DD rune. Going to bottle that up. I really like when you pass the bottle over to your carries when they pick up this DD rune. That was Clockworks. And he'll happily lend it over if it means them winning the next fight. That's an extra 126 damage for the Gyrocopter. With Flat Cannon, you cannot underestimate how important that is for FTD. This Wraith King's really slowed down when it comes to his item progression in this game, and when it comes to his impact inside this match. He's farming up reasonably well with the Radiance, but not well enough. He has the Blink Dagger now to get into the fight, but once he's in, there is no getting out. He needs to have the Templar Assassin there to kill off everything. He's working for the Daedalus. That's the item to accomplish that goal. But now with the item Scepter Witch Doctor, that's scary. For the Dream, the way these initiations have gone down, they haven't had very good tools in order to be able to cancel off that Witch Doctor's channeling, and they don't quite have the vision for it either. He seems to find really good angles around the fog, and until they have the Night Stalker's Aghanims, it's going to be difficult for them to counterplay. 4 stacks of the goo, plus the Assault Cuirass minus Armor Aura, they're going to be able to take down Roshan very quickly and give the Aegis to Ferrari. Bristleback is going to be the frontline tank for IG, the battering ram, as they may consider going for high ground here. FTD know exactly what's coming their way. They know that they're all grouped up down this bottom area, and Templar Assassin will get some split push done in this top lane, maybe even take out that tier 2. But you need to be prepared for this high ground push because it's coming, and it's coming now. Bristleback's going to lead the charge, followed not too far behind by Gyrocopter, who still has that double damage rune. DD isn't popped yet. They kind of want to wait for the glyph to be used before committing for that DD. Luo wants to get the maximum efficiency out of that extra 128 damage. It's like giving him half a rapier. A little bit less than that, but in the ballpark. That is so much for his next fight. And for the Dream, it looks like they're going to, at the very least, lose to tier 3 on the backline. So they jump into the Witch Doctor. Bringing down Chuan is very important here, and they aren't going to be able to do that. They lose the Ancient Apparition too. The supports are down, but your double damage Gyrocopter is still there. He purchases off the DD with the PKB popped. Luo isn't going to have that extra amount of damage. With the Void, they're killing off the back lines. The Wraith King is on the front, and he is going to lose his second life after the reincarnation. That is until the Laguna Blade comes out, and Ferrari gets kited. That fight was beautifully coordinated. Coming out for FTD, they'll lose the Aegis on the Bristleback. Lena doesn't need to be very scared here. Not a lot of HP, but I think this is a second life down for Ferrari. That was exactly what they needed to do. Perfect wraparound on the supports. Ferrari, still, need to respect him, and it looks like Ferrari is going to be able to walk this one off. FTD don't want to risk what they just got, and what they just got was a huge team fight in their favor. This was one of the first times where they're able to jump onto Chuan at the start of the engagement. They get a beautiful wraparound, blow him up with the Desolator coming out from the TA. And that Aegis advantage is no longer there for IG. This game could still swing either way. in the grand scheme of things, even this more than 3,000 net worth advantage for the Dream is not all that significant. The experience advantage may be a little bit more so, but what is their ability to control this map now, with the item scepter gem now up for the Night Stalker on XTT. This is going to give them a lot of ability to put pressure on this map and to take away the control that IG have had consistently throughout this game. And right now that control is starting to be a little bit lax. We have a 36-minute hand of Midas for the Ancient Empress, and I'm not sure what else he'd buy, and I think that's just fine to secure him. The levels, as this game progresses on, it shows no signs of slowing down soon. Daedalus is now done for the Templar Assassin. Their ability to pick off these supports is getting increasingly larger with both the Desolator and the Daedalus. The amount of damage she's pumping out is crazy. Every single one of the fights we've seen this game, pretty much every single one of them, have been major exchanges. There have been very few small-scale skirmishes and small engagements because how grouped up IG have been playing this game. A couple here and there, but for the most part, if you're seeing a fight, everybody's involved. Oh no. Sorry for missing that. Ancient Empress gets isolated in the sidelines, gets obliterated. Wraith King has another blink in 5 seconds. They're going to give IG some well-deserved space here. But the vision is really what's starting to favor of FTD. They know pretty much everything of what's going on. With the 4-staff away, the goose stacks up from the Bristleback aren't going to mean too much of anything. Ferrari's going to chase up this high ground again. The Bristleback's safe in doing that, but the rest of his team not so much. IG are smoked. The Clockwork is behind this Bristleback, charging forward through the mid lane. Doing his best to bait. I don't think it's going to work, though. Yeah, I don't really know who's convincingly winning this game or who's going to be the first team to push high ground. It's still the situation where FTD, if they start taking down these tier 2s, are going to have a very substantial lead this game. But actually killing off those tier 2 towers is going to prove to be difficult. The structural damage is very limited. And for the first time in a long time, it's going to be FTD to be the ones to go aggressive onto the enemy side of the map. And start seizing control that way. IG have had a lot of space on their side of the river, and have had a lot of access to their jungle camps, and even now are farming at a fairly similar rate to that of FTD. The advantage that is 4,000 in favor of FTD isn't getting much higher, and probably won't. Tusk picks up the Solar Crest. Although not going to be the most useful item against the Gyrocopters, he's almost done with his MKB. Against the Bristleback, it is. He's gone for a Bastion next. And Ferrari, I really think is just going to get constantly kited. I don't think there's a convincing way for this Bristleback to stay in the middle of the fights and still be able to get his damage output off. He's mostly ignorable. If they have the Crippling Fear on them, if they have the Solar Crest, if they have the Radiance, there's so many stacking mischance abilities coming out from FTD. Then MKB almost feels like a mandatory pickup, but then Bristleback also kind of needs BKB, and he's just not getting that much income. To be fair, the Wraith King's not farming that quickly either, and the Bristleback still has an advantage when it comes to farm compared to the Wraith King. But it also feels like the Wraith King is able to more effectively move through these fights. We're waiting for the next Roshan. That's pretty much all it is. 2 minutes till the potential spawner comes up. We'll have to keep an eye for the clock whenever that comes up. But yeah, we're at one of these more slower patches. Gyrocopters is MKB. Maybe that's a big enough item to where the side of IG decide to smoke up, decide to group up, and decide to look for a pickoff. FTD are getting a little bit more sprawled out on this map. They're feeling a lot more comfortable. As they should. But it is something that IG might be able to punish. Courier's going to be flying out. It's the Ghost Scepter for the Witch Doctor. Also very important. Ghost Scepters are going to be held at a premium for IG. I think they have 2 right now. One on the Clockwork and one on the Witch Doctor. If they had those for a bottom fight, it looks completely different. And they might even be able to take it. Now IG, after this last round of item pickups, are going to feel comfortable to start pushing. And again, applying pressure. They're going to put the illusions of the Gyrocopter on the high ground. Darkness will be popped, chasing forward. They see the Clockwork and his illusions. Clockwork will get his space. The Wraith King is going to show in the mid lane. A delicate situation for both sides. Ferrari's going to open up with 2 stacks of goo onto the Wraith King. Just casual harass for this point. Ferrari's going to be really posturing very aggressively. I don't think we can call that a damage trade win for them. The Clockwork Illusion going to get voided up. I think they know it's an illusion. At least they know now. So if I could break out at the drop of a hat. IG, their lacking factor is vision. And FTD, like, no such thing. They have traps down the ground. They have Aghanim Scepter Night Stalkers. And they have also the high ground advantage. IG have continuously beat their head against this brick wall that is FTD's defense. But eventually it's going to get them this range barracks. And maybe eventually is now. With the Assault Cuirass minus armor, they're going to be able to take it. Now transitioning to the melee barracks bottom. There is no glyph, and FTD aren't initiating. They have no darkness. IG have found the window where they're able to take the full set of barracks down the bottom lane. Now the fight's going to break out. Templar Assassins on the backlines with a Ghost Scepter on Chuan, and now a hook shot in. Templar Assassin might be in a little bit of trouble. Pops her BKB. No detection on the ground. Templar Assassin is going to be just fine. 4 step away by the Clockwork. They're trying to get away. The Ancient Apparition is going to blow up, but look at it go. There's your Witch Doctor ultimate. It will be cancelled by the sounds coming out from the Night Stalker, but Lena's already down. Luo is going to take a good amount of damage from this blade mode, but Templar Assassin's the one to fall, and that's what really matters for the side of FTD. Buyback in the Lena, buyback in the TA. They really need to get back into this fight, and soon Wraith King needs their help, and they're not going to be there. There's no buyback on the Wraith King, and IG might just be able to commit here. They've already taken down the barracks, and that's what really matters. IG, it's taken them 42 minutes, but they've finally done it. And they've finally taken down the high ground. Look at that grab. Vertical upward slope. Back in the favor of Invictus Gaming. One slip up. That's all it takes. 1 second of daytime. One small window. And IG now are back in control. Bristleback's at the top of the net worth chart. Gyrocopter not too far behind him, and after being forced to buy back, this Templar Assassin's item progression is pretty much nil. She's melding in mid. We saw this in the last game. She wants to explode one of the supports. You can't go on Chuan though. His Ghost Scepter is too tanky. 1661 HP. They'll lose the tier 3 tower, and now they're going to start losing their barracks if they're not careful. Templar Assassin's still in the backlines. She has a good wraparound angle for this, but what does that wraparound angle matter if FTD can't make the jump? Oh no, Clockwork snipes the Lena in the fountain. Templar Assassin might get a courier. That doesn't make up for the fact that you lost your entire base. And Templar Assassin's not even going to get that courier. It's too scary for her to go for it. IG are winning this game. What do FTT do about this? The Ancient Apparition is going to die. Templar Assassin gets a successful snipe onto the backlines. Taking away the Ancient Apparition is something, but they need more. And maybe that more is going to be the Clockwork. Couple more meld strikes, double kill for the TA. But is it too late for them to really feel comfortable about that last trade? Glimmered up, not going to save you. Bristleback is going to probably end up following the Clockwork Ancient Apparition back to the well the hard way as he gets crit down by the Wraith King. Night Stalker chasing as a 4-step forward catches the Void onto Chuan, and there is still the gem on the Night Stalker, so the Glimmer Cape isn't going to save him, but Ghost Scepter might. Chuan is going to buy a TP. Void is available again, so he can't TP yet. Now the Wraith King is here. Chuan is dead. But what does that really matter? There's buybacks available for everybody but Chuan. And they take the full barracks in mid, they take the full barracks in bottom lane, and IG are going to be feeling really comfortable with that last exchange. 29-18, if you just look at the kill score, if you're just joining us, you might expect FTD to be looking a lot better than they are. They just haven't been able to stop the aggressive, objective-based playstyle coming out from IG. They don't care about kills. It doesn't matter if they get pickoffs. All that matters is the buildings. And they've been able to take those out very convincingly. Templar Assassin's going for Roshan. She can do this solo around the corner. Gyrocopter 0 with the illusions. Wraith King's also going to be there. They know that this is happening. Gyrocopter drops call down in the pit. Won't commit. Hook shot in. Clockwork wants to steal. Maybe he shouldn't force half over the hill. And he's going to be just fine. This is an Aegis and Cheese for the side of FTD. Cheese is still there. They're not going to be able to deny that or anything of the sort. Lena's going to secure it for the side of FTD. This is nice and all. But this is an uphill battle. And a very, very steep uphill battle for FTD. The net worth graph and the experience graph don't reflect the situation in this game. The situation is they're down 2 barracks. The Radiance Wraith King and the Templar Assassin with her Sideblade spill can't deal with the super creeps by themselves. Dealing with IG on top of the super creeps is another story entirely. Especially if this Bristleback gets an Abyssal Blade. No, not gonna go for Abyssal, just more armor. Why not, I guess. This should be a Lotus Orb for him? No, it's gonna be a Shiva's. Okay, so the reason why I would expect a Lotus Orb is so they can purge off Crippling Fear. Shiva's Guard is a more useful aura for the team, and probably the better item choice. I'm a little bit surprised Ferrari doesn't go for a BKB, or an MKB. But he is an immovable force. This is 70% damage reduction from physical DPS, which is the majority of what FTD are bringing to the table right now, on top of Bristleback. Yes, this guy's not dying unless he is the last hero left alive, which he might be. But IG, this is smooth sailing for them, as long as they wait out this Aegis timer. I don't think they're going to feel comfortable enough to go aggressive into an Aegis, especially not if the Templar Assassin has a DD rune. We're in one-shot territory, Ancient Emperor. They'll pop the darkness, going behind the tower. The Dire side, have vision of the Bristleback, have vision of the Witch Doctor. It is crazy how good Nightstalker Agams is from just right next to that large cap. It's able to see high ground. That seems fair. IG are on the back foot. They're grouped up inside their base because that's what they have to be doing. FTD have the window. Can they do enough with it? As long as IG hold here, they're fine. The Agency Immortal is still going to be there for about 3 minutes. FTD for now repelled. Can they do enough with it? I'm not sure. This is a very tense situation for the Dream. Losing the second game is going to make it so hard going into the third of the series, the best of 5. And really, the first game, granted, it does give you a general idea of how good the teams are, but it really is the second game where teams show their true colors. If you're able to come back after a game 1 loss. There's Gyrocopter, gonna go for Satanic next. Almost has it. Gonna pick up the Reaver first. It's very tanky. And Luo, he is spotted out. Nightstalker is gonna catch eyes onto him. Maintain vision on this Gyrocopter. But can they go in for him? Templar Assassin's a little far away. They'll pop the darkness. Are they gonna make the go? I don't think so. They don't have TA yet. They're gonna wait for her to join the fray. And then maybe make the call. Ancient Emperor's ultimate is going to be thrown out. They catch a minor glimpse of the enemy team, and that's all that they need. They'll ping it out. And now IG, they're going to farm down the bottom lane. Chuan is going to ping it out. They'll leave the Gyrocopter here, but FTD, they know they've been spotted. They know they haven't been able to find the angle that they really want, and they're just going to back off. Cheese on the Wraith King, and Aegis on the Templar Assassin. These are useful tools for them, but it doesn't feel like they're useful enough. Even with the Assault Cuirass, even with the Desolator minus armor, taking the high ground fight is so hard against IG. And this Aegis timer is very quickly expiring, down to a minute duration. I don't think it does anything for FTD. Another huge benefit of the Shivas is how much you can kite the Wraith King with it. That's insane how much Slayer you're getting from it. Yeah, Bristleback's kind of stacked. He has the Abyssal Blade to upgrade to, and then the mechanism to replace. MKB or BKB? Probably MK. But your Aegis is about gone. There's 6,000 gold near enough in this Templar Assassin. Are you going to go Rapier? Is that going to be enough? With the amount of Ghost Scepters, I'm not so sure if that's even the type of play that FTD need to make. At this point, though, they need to do something risky. The net worth advantage is only slightly in their favor, and IG are getting all of the items that they need to really be able to contribute. Templar Assassin is neck and neck with the Bristleback and Gyrocopter, but Wraith King's still fairly far behind. Raw net worth, of course. Templar Assassin is going to make the call for the MKB. The evasion from the Bristleback is probably enough to warrant it, and it's too risky to go for the Divine here. Giving a Divine to the Gyrocopter is just GG. But it feels like they kind of need that style of risk. They need something all in. FTD, if they just keep on waiting for Aegises and keep on trying to find an advantage against IG, they're never going to find that opportunity. IG are playing very tight, and now they're smoked up. Hookshot! Gonna miss. Templar Assassin is going to evade that initiation, and for now, IG have been repelled. As we scale later in the game, how's our buyback situation looking? Bristleback is going to have his in about 130 gold. Probably give this creep camp over towards him. Clockwork has it. Gyrocopter has it. It's only the two supports that really lack that crucial cooldown. Ancient Apparition's item progression. 30-minute minus into 50-minute. Having Ghost Scepter and Gem. Not bad. These items are mandatory. Ancient Apparition, if he doesn't go for the Ghost, he's just going to die every fight. And it doesn't matter how strong your Ice Blast is if you're just going to die. And having the gem is really invaluable. When you're in a close game, it's a great way to get an advantage. As we saw from the Night Stalker in Game number 1, and the Night Stalker from this game, the wards, there's hardly any on the map. And the one from the Radiant side can barely see the rune. Darkness is pretty crazy. Now IG, continuing to push up top lane. But here's your wraparound from FTD. Night Stalker is there. They have almost perfect vision. They know there are no wards here. They know that they haven't been spotted yet. The Radiant team have no idea. Clockwork's going to get jumped first. 4-step away. Pops his Ghost Scepter. Dragon Slave is there. But the Shiva's guard popped by the Bristleback. He's in the middle of everybody. Laguna Blade, they will be able to bring down Ferrari. If only just. Clockwork is dropping low. Witch Doctor ultimate being channeled. Night Stalker gets the 4-step of the high ground. Is able to silence that one out away from Chuan. Lena's going to die. Reincarnation is down. For the dream, maybe they're able to jump. I recognize now that I was looking through the vision coming out from FTD that whole time as Ancient Apparition gets jumped by the TA. Don't look for the ice shards towards the north. They find Chuan. Ancient Apparition will die. And now Chuan also going to join him very quickly. Ghost Scepter only gets saving for a little while. And the Tusk, are you going to survive? TPing back towards base. The flare isn't going to connect on the Tusk. And Maledict not lethal. He'll be fine. For the dream, take a good fight. At the cost of a lot of damage on these tier 4s, though. It always feels like IG are getting something. Even when they've been taking these, on paper, bad exchanges. And bad exchanges when it comes to golden experience. They're getting towers. And that really just cannot be replicated by FTD. They win the fight, but they can't get anything off the back of it. All of their lanes are pushing in because of the super creeps that were taken earlier by IG. This Templar Assassin has a moon shard. She's trucking. And it is going to be a very fast Roshan respawn timer. Maybe this is the move for FTD. They're going to see Roshan respawn in just a second here. And with it, I think Templar Assassin might make the move into the pit. Roshan is up. Are FTD confident enough going into that Roshan area? We saw how potent the vision from the Night Stalker was, and now the gem isn't available for IG, and it looks like they want to go. The team's assembling. For the Dream are going to go in. Clockwork knows this is up, though. And IG know that this is probably what they're going to do. What For the Dream are going to try and attempt to make their stand with. This is dropping very quickly, though. The Templar Assassin is now going to get a little bit of help from the Wraith King, and they're just going to concede this away. IG want to get these lanes back under control. And look at it, at the cost of Aegis and Cheese. Templar Assassin going to eat her Moonshard. Cheese, they already have one on the Wraith King, you don't need another. And they'll give the secondary one to the Lina. If you have the slots, much better not to stack them. Maybe they'll give it back to the Wraith King after he consumes his. But an effective 4 HP pulls from the Wraith King to throw in this next fight. The first HP pull, the Reincarnation, the Cheese, another Cheese, and by the time that's through, maybe you'll have another Reincarnation, then you'll have a buyback. When they're defending high ground, there's going to be a lot of Wraith King to deal with. But it feels like they still can. 4,000 gold, the Wraith King has another item to pick up. But again, he doesn't really want to. The Blade Mail is probably going to be replaced. Or at the very least, put on a stash somewhere. Oh, there's a random Harpy here. Hello. I'll be able to bring it down. That was Gyrocopters from the Helm of the Dominator. Doesn't quite have his Satanic yet. It is worth noting that Harpy is actually super good. It might seem weird that there's just a random Harpy there, but Harpy Stormcrafters have really good nighttime vision. And it's probably the best ward that IG can buy. Now that it's dead, though, Gyrocopter will probably ferry out his Satanic, and we still have a gem for IG. They were able to claim Ancient Apparition's gem after that last fight, even though it was dropped. Helm is going to be dropped onto the Courier, as Gyrocopter wants to have a TP scroll, and he does need buyback before committing fully for the Satanic. He's getting close, though, and we'll have that very soon. Clockwork, pushing down bottom lane. Perhaps a little too far. Here comes Night Stalker. Here comes Wraith King. They see him. There's no way to TP out from this. The Night Stalker has perfect vision. And Clockwork's dead. It's a pickoff for the Dream. Does it change this game much? Probably not. 55.5 minutes into it. And still no great sign as to who's going to take out the victory. IG, I'd still have to favor them because of 2 barracks down. That's an advantage that cannot be overlooked. But it is an advantage that FTD can fight into, especially, oh my goodness, this experience lead for their side is ridiculous. All of their supports have level 16. Of course, that experience advantage means less and less as the game goes on, especially once this Ancient Apparition picks up the maxed out ultimate. It doesn't seem like that's going to be for a while. No, AA walks right into a Night Stalker. Is this going to be another pickoff for them? No. Void, straight TP out by the Ancient Apparition. He'll be fine. Item pickups for IG, Blink Dagger for the Witch Doctor, and Satanic for the Gyrocopter are available. No buyback for Chuan. He'll have to buy out for that Blink Dagger, but I think that's fine. And, well, same old, same old. Farming, farming, farming. Safe, safe, safe. No aggressive moves unless you're together. Or a clockwork in the bottom lane, I suppose. He just reclaimed in 2 minutes. This window is pretty quickly closing for the Templar Assassin, but she's capped. There's not really another item for TA to build. Of course, you're going to replace this Aegis eventually. But I think Aegis is probably the best item she can have in that slot, in all honesty. What do you go as the 6th item for TA? You'll want some extra HP. But since you... Or actually, no, she's gotten rid of the Deso. That's where her last item is. She's sold it. Maybe you go for a Scotty here. I would not be opposed to that at all on the Templar Assassin. Or Satanic. Satanic seems like a really good idea. We're at the late game. We're selling Desolators. We're getting 6 slotted on our carries. The Gyrocopter is pretty much done with his build too. Has Boots of Travel to upgrade and one more item to pick up. The Bristleback has his Abyssal Blade to purchase and the Mechanism to replace, but we're getting there. And FTD are holding, which is a lot better than one could have expected them to do after such a fairly quick Raxing coming up from IG. We'll walk you around the corner. Ancient Apparition, you're going to get spotted out here. The Night Stalker is going to see a couple of enemy heroes around the corner, but there is no clear opportunity. Without the Templar Assassin, they don't want to fight. And TA? Oh, going to upgrade our Boots of Travel first. Fair enough, fair enough. The Aegis is going to be reclaimed in just a matter of seconds, though. They'll probably pass a cheese over the TA. One is currently being held by the Lina, one by the Wraith King. Or, not by the Wraith King anymore. Where'd that other cheese go? Tusk. Alright. Wraith King has replaced that cheese with a full Mjolnir. This Wraith King is doing quite a lot of damage, but again is getting close to 6 slotted. Oh, hi. It's just that state of the game where nothing's happening. And nothing will happen for another 3 minutes, 10 seconds now. At least, not without smoke. The smoke situation for either side restocking in 8 minutes. For the side of IG, they have one coming out in the courier, though. This is going to be their last for a while. Let's see what they're going to be able to do for it, or do with it. For the Dire side, their smokes, they have 2 available in stock, actually. That's very surprising at this late game stage. IG smoke's going to be one of their last for a while. Whereas, for the Dream, have quite a lot of opportunities. Smoke is still going to be held on the courier. They haven't found a go yet. They'll probably save that right before Roshan has the potential to respawn. It's going to be a moderately fast respawn timer. Very fast. I don't think that favors anybody but the viewers. I'll be honest. I'm not sure which team really has the advantage inside the Roshan, but I'm just glad that we might see a fight. Wraithfire Blast thrown to the Bristleback. Here comes the rest of the team. They won't follow up, though. This Bristle may or may not have 46 armor. Maybe. that's disgusting. 73% physical resist. Even a Daedalus MKB Moonshard TA is going to find it difficult to kill off this Bristleback. They have the Wraithfire Blast onto him. Solar Crest is applied, taking away 10 of that armor. Bristle's just going to turn his back, and the rest of the team is here. Templar Assassin joins the fray. Boots are traveling in. She pops her BKB. They pop the Bristleback. The damage on the Luo is huge. Chuan is going to die before he's able to get off his ultimate with no buyback on the Witch Doctor. And it looks like, for the Dream, have a shot at being able to push. and being able to take this fight. Templar Assassin has the cheese. I'm really surprised that the Wraith King doesn't pick up one of his own, but that's a good fight for the Dream. There is buyback on Luo. You need to force it out here. They might not be able to get more than one set of barracks, and maybe they're not even able to get that one set of barracks, depends on how the fight goes down. But at least they have an opportunity. At least they're going to make an aggressive move. I was really surprised IG tried to take that fight outside of their base. Maybe they didn't know about the boot travel 2 on the Templar Assassin, but there's your buyback on Luo. For the Dream, I'm going to back out. Respect the Gyrocopter. Respect the potential for a buyback on Witch Doctor, even though he doesn't have it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Lina is going to get the D ward. The Radiant Vision now is very, very slim. In fact, they don't have a single ward on the map. Their best vision tools, the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast and the Clockworks Flare. Ice Blast going to be thrown on the bottom lane. Boom! 1 CS for the Ancient Apparition. Now the pressure is on for the Dream to take a fight in the next 6 minutes where you don't have buyback on the Bristle and where you don't have buyback on the Gyrocopter. This is very delicate for IG. But if you've watched IG before, you'll know that they're very, very patient. They're fine waiting out this 6 minutes. At least I think they are. This is going to be another Aegis and another cheese. The third cheese of the game for the Dream. Roshan timer? What happened to you? Timer done broke. Hey, there you are. Welcome back, Roshan. Nothing's really changed. Still 2 barracks advantage in the favor of IG. For the Dream, have forced out the buyback on the Bristleback and the Gyrocopter. But that's about the state of things. We're in it for the long haul. Alright, Roshan. I think that's scouted by the Ancient Apparition. No. Just outside of the vision line, I think. And for the Dream, haven't yet spotted it. But once they do, it's going to be dropping quickly. But the last 2 Aegises and cheese didn't do anything. They still have all of them available. They're just collecting cheeses at this point. Let's see. We have like Parmesan and mozzarella. Let's get a Swiss. Now to Roshan. Templar Assassin is going to be able to do this by herself, but she doesn't have to do it by herself. She has a team. Drop the Solar Crest, Meld minus armor, Assault Cuirass now, and Roshan's going to be dropping quickly. They pass the cheese. What happened to the one on the floor? Alright, one on the Tusk, one on the Lina. Aegis on the Templar Assassin, and another cheese for the Lina. At this point, you can't really keep them unstacked. It's just not possible. You don't have enough inventory slots for it. Actually, well, maybe you do. Drop the urn on the Night Stalker for a cheese, but he has 4,700 gold. XGT wants to pick up a whole new item to replace that urn instead of something as trivial as a cheese. Or maybe Night Stalker just really doesn't like Swiss. For the Dream. Time to go. 3 minutes on buyback cooldown for the Bristleback 320 to be more precise, and 4 minutes for the Gyrocopter now. And we're just waiting. What changes this game? I don't really know. I'm not sure if there's an item pickup we can talk about that's drastically going to change the face of this matchup. If getting 6 slotted is really going to do it. The Abyssal Blade on the Bristleback in theory is really good, but he's not even going to go for an Abyssal Blade here. It looks like he wants a Satanic of his own. He has no way to deal with the mischance coming out from For the Dream, and I really think that MKB kind of needed to be his last slot. But you know what? We're here for a long time. Maybe you're going to replace that Halberd with an MKB. Get the Abyssal Blade up and running. We're not going anywhere. Neither of these teams. 65 minutes in the game. A lot on the line for both sides. It would be really disappointing for the Dream if they don't take a single game off of IG. And I definitely think they have it in them to do it. And it would be great if they do it in the second game. IG have felt like they're the ones in control when it comes to objectives. For the first time in a long time, we have a substantial net worth advantage being gained by For the Dream. I say substantial net worth advantage. It really doesn't matter anymore. The Templar Assassin isn't getting any fatter. She has 1,100 gold in the bank. She has enough gold to replace this Aegis with another item slot, but no matter what that item slot is, the Satanic I was talking about earlier, the Scotty, she probably wants the Aegis instead. And buyback is the most important asset to you at this point in the game. Well, blink in, ready for a blast. They're going to get Hex up onto Ferrari. Force that back into the team. The Cogs are going to wild both of them in. Laguna Blade's going to be thrown. The Witch Doctor Ultimate doing quite a number. Templar Assassin's going to lose their Aegis here, but Bristleback's down for the count. He's not there for 114 seconds. Hookshot in. They're going to kill up the toss. Night Stalker also going to fall. Inside the middle of the fray, Templar Assassin's going to die. She has buyback available, but is on the sidelines for 2 minutes. Wraith King will be able to blink out after he loses reincarnation. Chuan is going to give chase. Chuan can get in range for this paralyzing cask. The Radiance burn. They know he's here. They're going to guess incorrectly, though. The Wraith King was just going straight down the lane. He is going to be able to buy him space. With another blink out, the Wraith King will be fine. Yeah, this game doesn't change. we're still at about the same spot. Oh, Lina! Oh, not like this. Chuan, glimmering forward, blinking forward. 4-step away by Lina. TP out. And she's going to be fine. Close call. The best IG can hope for is to force out buyback from the Templar Assassin. We have Glyph available. Tier 3 might fall, but taking the racks afterwards is going to be difficult. And without the Bristleback, I don't think IG are going to want to force out that buyback from the Templar Assassin. When you're not fully prepared, you don't really want to kick the bee's nest. And right now, where the Dream are kind of the bees, or at least the Templar Assassin is. Her sting is very hard. Templar Assassin is going to buy that Satanic. Full 6-slotted build for the TA. There is not another thing that you really want to replace. It's a 5-second BKB. Maybe it's not enough to warrant staying in TA's inventory, but what do you replace it with? I don't know. Maybe you go for the Scotty instead of the BKB. Or hold the BKB. Replace it for the Scotty whenever it's on cooldown. I don't know. We're just at that point in the game where there are a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. We have another gem purchase. The gem is still being controlled by IG. We have one in the base as well for them too that was previously held by the Night Stalker, but we're at the point where buying another gem is not super impressive. I mean, it doesn't change anything. At the very least, it brings them back to even footing. And for the Dream, don't even have to spend the buyback on the Templar Assassin. Then again, the buyback's back up for the Bristleback and the Gyrocopter. We're back at score 1, folks. 2 racks up. Does that even matter? Doesn't look like it does. 68 minutes into the game. It could be over if one teamfight goes poorly and a hero dies back. But until then, let's farm. Let's just chill. Fighting's overrated anyway. Well, let's just get everybody 6-slotted, why don't we? It's gonna take a while for this Ancient Apparition. But you know what? The 30-minute Midas is paying off. We're almost 70 minutes into the game. It's had this thing for a long time. Is he gonna buy an E-Blade? That'd be awesome. And I think it's actually really good. The Super E-Blade. Yeah, I want to see it. I guess we can look at the graphs. Really, I don't think these graphs matter anymore. But for the sake of not having anything else to show, have a look at them. 12,000 in net worth advantage for the Dream. 12,000 experience advantage. But where this gold is going, there is really no lead. We have a Scotty on the Gyrocopter. His build is done. Again, maybe you replace the BKB. Maybe you replace the Manta. Upgrade to Boots of Travel, get the Moon Shard, sure. But, yeah. Dota 2. Night Stalker is going to pop his Darkness, catches eyes on the enemy side in mid, and backs off. Once Darkness is popped, IG see very little to nothing. The wards that they have, granted, aren't in bad spots, but they hardly see anything. Darkness just never ceases to amaze us how ridiculous it is as a tool, and the only thing scarier than Darkness is not having a single ward on the map once Darkness is popped. And with this gem, Night Stalker should be able to do that. The saddest part about this game is it's going to be over in just a little bit. after that last fight happens. We don't know when that fight's going to happen. That does give us the anticipation and maybe a little bit of excitement for when that's going to take place. But it depends on one of these teams making an error. One of these teams getting over aggressive. One of these teams getting caught out. And that's just not happening. We have the Satanic recipe up for Ferrari. He has enough gold for the Satanic, but not enough gold for Satanic and buyback. And buybacks at this point in the game are darn expensive to be able to maintain it. All of his gold is unreliable. Not a single penny of Bristleback's bank is reliable. So he needs to have the whole kit and caboodle. 2750 gold now, and that'll continue to rise. Well, if you're just joining us, 71 minutes into the game, IG have held these two barracks advantage over the enemy's side for the longest of times. But they have been able to close it out. And now it is actually anybody's game. At 70 minutes in, barracks matter so much less. Especially considering how well they've been able to hold against it. We have the full 6-slotted build-up for the Wraith King too. 10-second BKB. He's been kited around, and might still get kited to a lesser extent, but 10 seconds magic immunity at 70 minutes in the game is huge. Also huge is the fact that there's a double damage TA. Roshan has a lot of HP at this point in the game. Doesn't matter, he's going to drop in a mere matter of seconds here. As for the Dream, have committed 4th cheese of the game! And I don't think a single one of them has been eaten. We have 2 on the Lina. No? They've eaten 1. Blasphemy. I thought they were saving up. Don't you get like a special Aegis if you save up for 10 cheeses or something? Tusk is gonna hold on to his. We now have 2 on the Lina. She's gonna pick up the one from that last Roshan. And I think, yeah, that's it. What does Aegis even matter? Ah, jeez. We're going for a Scythe on the Witch Doctor. Ancient Apparition, being the good support that he is, keeps on buying words for everybody. But now Super is working towards a plate mail item. Does Bristleback want to replace his Shivas? I think so. Or maybe he replaces the Halberd. I don't really know. Bristleback's always one of those heroes that it feels like you need like 7 to 8 slots to really be able to maximize his efficiency. And at this point in the game, who knows? Or just get a Lotus Orb. I don't know. Purge off the crippling fear, especially from the Bristleback, I think is the most important thing about that Lotus Orb. The crippling fear is going to make it so where the Satanic that is almost done, he's just saving up for the gold, he's getting there. Kinda. Needs about 2,000 more or so. Ooh. Well, guess we could just relax. This game doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Good old Chinese Dota. I mean, not to take anything away from them, they're executing at a very high level. But they play so safe. And for good reason, too. X is a little bit out far in mid. That's something, I guess, that IG might have been able to go on, but not with the vision that they have. They see nothing. This ward on the high ground, is it even worth placing it? Probably. I don't know. Witch Doctor Chuan in a bit of trouble. He's going to pop his Ghost Scepter. He has another blink in 4 seconds. The Wraith King's not going to commit into the tower and they'll force step him away. They use spells on an enemy hero. That's something at least. And now they have a hook shot. Oh, 4 step away. just reminding them, hey, I'm Clockwork. I have a hook shot. Respect me. Nothing's going to happen afterwards, though. An attempted initiation on both sides. It doesn't matter, though. It really doesn't. Templar Assassin has 12,000 gold in the bank. At this point, they really wish they could give that, especially to the Lina. In theory, a hero that scales pretty well into the later portion of the game, even as a support, just get a Scythe of Vice up and running, a Refresher Orb, an Octarine. Looks like she's going to go for an Octarine or Bloodstone here. But if the Lina gets stacked enough, that could be an additional right-click DPSer for the side of for the Dream. And I wouldn't even mind her picking up like a Desolator if she's tanky enough to use it. The state of this game has stayed the same for this bit right here. Ever since those barracks fell in favor of IG, but hey, now that's an item. I thought this was going to be a hex on Chuan. It's a refresher. Now, how much does the refresher actually change? If Chuan had a BKB, this refresher is so much better. The only way that For the Dream would have of canceling a BKB channeled Witch Doctor Ultimate is that Walrus Punch, or just the damage from the TA. TA is going to buy a Desolator and buy a Manta Style, and still have 5,000 gold in the bank. Why not rebuy the Deso? Or was it just on the floor this whole time? I think she bought it. I'm pretty sure she sold that and just rebought it now. This is the closet courier, so to speak. This is just her little wardrobe of extra items that Templar Assassin will try every once in a while whenever she wants to go for split push. Ice Blast. Kills off 2 range creeps. Attacks the Templar Assassin. And, well, it's only a matter of time. It really is. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. Could be 2 minutes. Could be 30. Could be longer, but it's going to be now. Wraithfire Blast. They're going to jump in, but a Force Staff away, and the Clockwork is fine. The Tusk is now extended pretty deep. Hookshot is going to be absorbed by those Manta Illusions, I believe. And another situation where nothing happens. Templar Assassin bringing out her Closet Courier. Gonna drop the Boots of Travel. Drop the BKB. Pick up the Manta. Pop the Manta Illusions. Does she stick on these items? No, drop the Manta. Go back to the original ones. Illusions don't carry the Desolator passive, as far as I'm aware. And it doesn't look like they're doing that now. So putting them on the Illusions doesn't matter all that much. Well, there could be a weird interaction on towers. I don't think so. This is mostly just allowing the Templar Assassin to get a little bit of chip damage. Swap for the Manta, put the BKB on the Courier, and keep on pushing down. Keep the Courier on the sidelines. That's just this kind of game. We're getting 8 slotted up in here. With Moonshard. 9 slotted? Oh, jeez. We buying Desolators we've sold previously? Maybe I'm wrong, but still this Templar Assassin has more gold than she ought to. Dota's meant to be over by the time you pick up your 6 slots. It's not meant to extend to this point where you get 9. Gyrocopter. Casually spinning around and moving around inside his base. Buybacks are up for all of the important players in this game, with the exception being the Gyrocopter. And he's only 10 gold short. So he'll have it for the next fight. Don't you worry. There you go. Only heroes without buyback. Lena, Ancient Apparition, Witch Doctor are out of the buyback only club. Wraith King has Basher. That's about all I have to say about that. He's gonna get rid of his Radiance. Alright, fair enough. About time. And now he has Moonshard and Abyssal Blade, but what he doesn't have is buyback. So, for the Dream, not going to be able to commit yet. Wait for... how many Roshans is it? This will be the 5th cheese. 7th Roshan? Dear. That just blows my mind how many Rosh we've had this game. And how few cheeses have been eaten. We have consumed 1 of them. Still 2 sitting in Lena's inventory. Still 1 sitting in the tusks. They're fermenting cheese. It would be interesting if cheese got stronger, but ooh, they spotted out a courier. The Observer Ward is going to give Nightstalker that intel. It's flying right overhead. Courier down. That was the Satanic completed for the Bristleback. It's not like they were going to fight anyway. In 3 minutes. I don't think that courier really means much, if anything. Satanic is nice to have on the Bristleback, but as long as they stay inside their base, this game isn't going anywhere. The pressure's on For the Dream to keep these lanes pushed out and to eventually take high ground. And doing that seems to be very, very difficult. This is going beyond late game, going beyond very late game to super late game. Nobody's giving anything away. We're in for the long haul here, and this is only game number 2. Imagine if IG hadn't taken down the racks in mid and bottom. This game would probably be over in favor of For the Dream. But because the super creeps are there, IG are just chilling. Hookshot into a creep wave. TP instantly out by the clockwork. Get away, get away! Oh, he's fine. He's fine, guys. But we have a diffusal blade for the Night Stalker. That actually gives me something to talk about. Or does it? Did he sell it? I saw him pick it up. There you go. Oh, it was just coming out in the courier. I was selecting the wrong courier. Dagnabbit, the Satanic Desolator courier. The UAM courier for the Templar Assassin, I guess we'll call it now. But yeah, diffusal blade. Night Stalker, not an item we see very often. And much less on Night Stalker. But it is incredibly good at counter-initiating against hexes. I don't think we have a hex yet for the side of IG. And what's there to actually be purged off? Not that much, in actuality. What else is the Night Stalker going to build? I don't think it's going to change this game. I want to see this be a crucial pickup. I'm just trying to think of what things it can purge. You have the nasal goo from the bristleback, but that's about it. Ghost Scepter. Oh, it's for the Ghost Scepters. Oh my goodness, it completely slipped my mind. That's actually huge. One of the biggest reasons why For the Dream have not been able to take these fights very convincingly is the Templar Assassin isn't able to get the damage output onto the supports and onto the clockwork because of the Ghost Scepters. And now, that's not an issue anymore. Or at least not as much of an issue. Roshan, number 7? 7, I think? 5th cheese for the Dream. So drop the cheeses on the floor. Happy little cheese. I think I'll stack on the Lena. 3 cheese. She's thinking about taking number 4. Why didn't it stack? Can you not stack cheese higher than 3? Oh, you can't. Wow. Okay, so that's a bit of Dota trivia that is hardly ever going to be relevant. But it is relevant in this game. Only 3 cheeses. No man was supposed to have this much cheese. Or no woman either. This Lena doesn't know what to do with that amount of calories. Well, what is there to talk about? Really wish I had some sort of interesting story to tell you, or something. Refresher's been picked up on the Witch Doctor for the longest of times, and hasn't been used once, I want to say. And really, what we should be looking at this game is the item pickups, I think. But it's not like those have changed anything. Captain Bamboo still valiantly holding on to Templar Assassin's items. They'll pop the darkness, they'll run in mid. Night Stalker's just going for a scouting mission. And they'll swing all the way down towards bottom. And Boots travel down to the Night Stalker. They're going for the split push play. The backdoor protection has been disabled. Hookshot in by the clockwork. Templar Assassin does not have an Aegis, but she does have a blink. I was getting excited for nothing. They couldn't bring her down. They couldn't even get a convincing jump. I really think IG are lacking those Slice of Ice. And lacking the Abyssal Blade on the Bristleback. They have the Satanic now. But really, the initiation power of IG is very limited. Clockwork at this point in the game? I mean, not to take anything away. Clockwork has been playing well. Very well, in fact. And Rabbit's had a pretty good game. But it's past his prime. And especially now with this Diffusal Blade and the Night Stalker. He can't commit. If his Ghost Scepter gets purged off, he's going to melt to the TA and to the Wraith King. We haven't talked too much about Wraith King's physical damage output, but with his built-in crit, Mjolnir, Abyssal, Moonshard, AC, this guy's trucking. BKB finally purchased by the Bristleback. I talked about the 10-second power of the Wraith King's BKB. Mind you, it's still at 10 seconds. But now we have one up for the Bristleback. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to take a drink, and hope that action doesn't pop out in the meantime. So, hold on just for a sec. Well, there we go. I've sufficiently taken a drink. And nothing's changed. I heard a hook shot. It was on the Ancient Emperors. Templar Assassin's getting some chip damage on the tower. But nothing short of Mega Creeps doesn't end this game. Was that a cheese eating? Hook shot in mid. They're going to catch out XTT. Hex up onto the clockwork. Ice Blast is going to be thrown. Posturing game from both sides. The Night Stalker and Tusk don't have a lot of backup. They pop the BKB on the Night Stalker. Templar Assassin and Lina aren't making any rotation mid. The Wraith King is trying to push out top. The Templar Assassin is trying to push down bottom. IG are getting split push, but it looks like they're holding on all fronts. Or at least holding barracks, I should say. Not holding tier 3s. Templar Assassin will get the tier 3 destruction down in the bottom lane. Wraith King has put about half damage on the tier 3 mid. Now, Tusk, can you survive? He has an Aegis, even if they snipe him with the flare. The Ice Blast doesn't really matter, but I want to see it. They ate a cheese. These cheeses are not fight cheeses. These are sustained cheeses. And there's still one on the floor. Oh my goodness. 22-37. Kill score doesn't matter. 2 barracks advantage for IG. Doesn't matter. More than a 20,000 net worth advantage for the Dream. Doesn't matter. Experience advantage also doesn't matter. Tier 3 falling doesn't matter. The state of this game has not changed, but maybe if they're able to kill off the Wraith King twice, it will be. He pops his critical BKB charge and is going to be dropped down. Templar Assassin's down the bottom lane. Tusk and the TA are going to try to split push this as the Wraith King is left alone. Chased down by the Scotty Gyrocopter. Called down onto the deck. The Wraith King is dropping low. Aegis is going to be reclaimed on the Tusk. The Wraith King will go down, and for real this time, but he has buyback, so what does that kill actually matter? Tier 3 tower in both bottom and top has fallen. But IG hold. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Are you kidding me? For how late we are in the game, both of these teams are playing so conservatively. They have to. They need to make sure that they stay safe. But this Bristleback, is he going to buy out for the Abyssal Blade? He won't have buyback if he does, and it looks like he's thought better of pushing up that Abyssal. Maybe I need the buyback, and he's probably right. The Ferrari? Gonna push out top. For the Dream, have map control. IG have the better chance of taking down Megas. If they win a fight and force out buybacks, they take down that top tower and the melee and range barracks very quickly. Ooh! It's not the Abyssal for the Bristleback, it's the Abyssal for the Gyrocopter. I like this a lot, actually. Gyrocopter's inventory now is looking very terrifying. Just the raw damage that Abyssal gives you is good for the Gyro. But if they try to commit onto you, if they blink on you with the Templar Assassin and Wraith King, Abyssal and destroy them. I really like this item progression coming out from the Gyro. Instead of going for the Moon Shard and the Boots of Travel too. It's not like he needs the Boots of Travel, he's never leaving his base. It's not like he needs the Moon Shard, you only have a finite amount of flat cannon shots, but what they do need is that lockdown. And now they have a little bit more of it. Courier? It's a heart for the Tusk. Why not? We're 90 minutes into the game, we can buy hearts on Tusk. What else is he going to pick up that would have been better? Maybe a refresher for double hex? Is refresher for double hex even that worth it? I don't know. I think Octarine might have been a little bit better for the Tusk. But again, it's a situation where I don't think the distinction between those two items is significant at all. Templar Assassin is super alone down the bottom lane. IG are going to find her out and blow her up. She has buyback. But that's actually something we can work with. TA getting complacent without the rest of her team there. And IG make a shot in the dark, and it sticks. Pretty hard. Night Stalker's getting some chip onto this ranged barracks, but with backdoor protection now, isn't going to be able to do much more than that. And I don't think IG can make any aggressive move off the back of this Templar Assassin pickoff and force out her buyback. Boots of Travel are now for the Gyrocopter. He's getting that 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 slotted status that Templar Assassin's sitting on. She has another 14,000 gold in the bank. Buy a Necrobook, buy a Refresher, buy a whatever you want because you're loaded. Buy a Dagon just for show. Buy an Emergency Divine Rapier, just in case. If emergency break glass. I think we're at that point. I mean, if Templar Assassin's forced to buy back, maybe just put a rapier onto her. I'm glad that pause was short. Probably a misclick. But yeah, just back to the rapier idea. If the Templar Assassin dies and has to buy back into the game, I think having a rapier is her best chance of being able to turn around that fight in the theoretical situation where IG are pushing for that top lane. But at this point, it is all just in theory. The game is extended to the point where all conventional knowledge is pretty much out the window. Item pickups, levels don't matter anymore. It's all about who gets caught out of position. Right now, maybe that's Ferrari. The Bristleback is going to get hexed up. The Bristleback has buyback. Killing him off is nice, and it is going to take him a damn long time to do it, but it probably will eventually work out in their favor. Will it? He's dealing with the Satanic, surviving for a long time through this, eventually will be dropped. And now Clockwork joining the fray. Gyrocopter wants a piece of this too. Bristleback is going to buy back into the game. Blink forward, Templar Assassin and the Wraith King are going to make quick work of the Clockwork. And finally, something's happened. Is that something enough to change the state of the game? IG cannot go on the aggressive. If either team is going to make the move, it's for the dream. But they need to be careful. Bottom lane is pushing in with 5 super range creeps. 6 maybe? Can I count? Yeah, 6. Yeah, with 6 super range creeps, so they need to make sure that there isn't that boots of travel backdoor play. The damage from this Gyrocopter, the damage from the Bristleback is huge. Satanic going to be popped by the Templar Assassin while farming creeps, switches back over to her Manta style. And that's probably the most interesting thing about this game, just watching the TA switch her items back and forth. Well, let's see. What could these teams do to make things interesting? The stakes are so high for this game that neither team are going to try and take any risk at all. But, yeah, do they make another stack of cheese? They've already eaten quite a few of them. Is that cheese still in the Roshan pit? No. Is it on the courier, I think? No? In the base? Did they eat it? I've lost track. There have been so many cheeses. There have been so many Aegises. What does one more add? Is this Roshan number 8? Roshan number 8 it is. I think. Cheese on the deck. Aegis for Lilina. She has a refresher. AM Scepter Laguna Blade. And she's starting to get to that scary slotted status. Lilina's a potent threat. And the Witch Doctor and the Ancient Apparition aren't getting there. Chuan's Refresher Orb, I want to say, has done nothing. Maybe the most important thing about this Refresher Orb is the fact that he can refresh her Ghost Scepter. Drop his ultimate with the first Ghost Scepter. If it gets purged off, refresher Ghost Scepter ulti again. But, yeah, Diffusal has no cooldown. We have yet to see a single Diffusal charge burned by XGT. Night Stalker hasn't needed to. We're in for the long haul. We are in for the long haul. Now, could we break records with this game? I'm not sure if I'm up for it, but we could go for it. We've waited this long. Why not give the viewers something crazy? I want to see a hero fully slotted with cheese. Of course, you can't use all of those cheese. They have a fairly long cooldown. But we're working towards it. Who actually has the cheeses? They're just leaving him in the pit. Nice guys. They didn't want to steal the cheese away from Roshan. You can have it. Come on. We can be friends, right? I mean, they've killed him so many times this game. I think they're a little bit beyond friendship at this point. But, yeah. Night Stalker's gonna push down the bottom lane. Farm, farm, farm. What are the CS numbers? Oh my god. Well, that's a few creeps you've killed there, TA. Hex. Onto the clockwork. Nothing else afterwards. Hookshot gonna miss. And everybody's gonna back off their merry way. At this point, we're going to look at a jump in. Witchdoctor's ultimate's gonna be thrown. And For the Dream are gonna back off. Look at it go! Man, that death word's sexy. But what does a sexy death word matter when nothing has changed? Buyback is not available for the Bristleback for 2 minutes, about 35 seconds or so. It doesn't have the gold for it either, but the Gyrocopter has his buyback, has his Abyssal Blade, and they're gonna get another Hex. Walrus Punch, throwing that into the clockwork, another 4-staff away. But slowly but surely, FTD are getting this range barracks. Refresher, Death Ward again. They might be able to kill off the TA. Bounce back by the cogs. They're going to pull her out of them. There's buyback on the Templar Assassin, and the Wraith King is pushing up towards top lane. 40 to 25. Hookshot going to be wide right. Alright. Back to farming. Nice. Aegis is going to be reclaimed in 2 minutes. I don't think they're going to get Aegis value off of this Lina. They're keeping lanes pushed in. And that's about all they can do. That's all they've been able to do. And in doing so, have given us some pretty ridiculous numbers to look at. If I wasn't such a scrub, I'd pull up that Dota and find you some interesting stats there. Oh no, the Centaur! The helm of the Dominator Centaur! Whose helm is that? Is that Bristleback's helm? Does he have a helm in base? Oh no, that's a Dire Creep. Templar Assassin has a helm on the Courier. That's what it's coming to. That's what they've been waiting for this entire time. Templar Assassin has transcended her hero and is becoming Chen. We have a smoke up from IG. Now this is actually something we can go off of. 20 seconds till Templar Assassin respawns. She's probably not going to have to buy back here. Can IG find anything? They're getting some wards down on the map. They don't have vision of a single enemy hero yet. Where's it going to break? What are they going to see? Are they going to find anything? The Dire team are grouped up. I think they know. They're going to play defensively till their TA is back up and running. And, well, they know that somebody's been in the neighborhood. At this point, that smoke is the equivalent of IG running up to the enemy side of the map and scrawling like an IG graffiti on this wall over here. And then it's erased very quickly by the gem. That's all that happened. It doesn't change the game at all. But at least they're saying, no, remember us? We're on the other side of the map. I'm pretty sure they remember. Oh. Alright, we're paused. And we need a bathroom break. Not a terrible idea, but instead of going to the bathroom, I'm going to start fumbling around in that Dota. I am terrible at this, I'll have you know. But we have some time to learn. Let's see. Heroes. Hero stats. All patches. Templar Assassin, I want to see how many last hits she has. So let's see. Last hits. Hero. Back to Templar Assassin here. Hold with me. We're finding stats, people. We're getting there. The highest CS of all time on Templar Assassin, on record, is 1,071 on Mushi. 97-78 into the game. That match was the International 2015 match against... oh dear. Is that right? That was against IG? Mushu is playing for Fnatic Malaysia. Fair enough. And they won. Still, we are at record-breaking levels of Templar Assassin last hits, and I'm sure there's a couple of other records that we've broken here. And we have time to look at it as all of these teams are going to relieve themselves. The good to go comes out from Chuan. And maybe we are going to be saved from looking at more records. It just blows my mind that that many creeps have died at the hands of this TA. Whew. You know what? Let's see. The highest amount of gold spent ever in a Dota game is 79,000 by Anti-Mage, played by Eternal Envy. We're not quite there yet, but if this keeps on going at the same pace that it has been going, Templar Assassin is going to be getting there. For Cabinet Couriers over the sidelines, I really want to see her just get 4 Helm Creeps. They're going to get melt. Like, they're not useful inside the fights. I just want to see it. Just because you can. Well, we're nearing 100 minutes. This is something. We have a refresher on the Wraith King. A refresher Wraith King to deal with. This is double Abyssal. This is double BKB. This is triple life. With a double reincarnation. It is going to cost him his Blink Dagger. But how much has that Blink really done for you? How do these fights even start out? I'm not so... Excuse me, sure. We've officially made it. We're at 100 minutes in. And we show no signs of slowing down. Well, what can you do? What can you do about it? Night Stalker again, going to look for his vision on the enemy side of the map. For the Dream, can't push high ground. At this point, just risk something. You have buyback on everybody for the Dire side, and the only hero without buyback is IG's Chuan as he buys out for the Hex. Blink double Hex is terrifying, I grant you that. But just sitting here and farming up isn't winning you this game. The Scython cooldown might give them something. They're going to pop BKBs. Wraith King's going top. He's going to get bashed. The ranged bash coming in from the Gyrocopter with the Abyssal to be able to kill him off once. But now they have to kill him off another 2 times. And by the time he does that, maybe he just takes out this barracks. Refresher pops his BKB again. Melee barracks in top lane will fall. By no means does that end the game. Ranged bash! Or was that the bash from the Bristleback? I'm not so sure. They cancel his TP just the same. And it looks like the Wraith King is going to be going down. They buy back the ancient apparition. Is back to the top fight. The Wraith King is doing battle against the 2 farmed carries from IG. The top melee barracks still stand. Look at it go. The Lena's going to die. Chuan with the channel coming out from his ultimate after refreshing will be able to kill them off. Yeah, this game didn't change. Roshan's respawning in 20. We're going to get the 9th Roshan in the game. Buybacks available for the Wraith King and the Lena. IG might be able to push out their lanes farther than where their tier 2s stood, which is more than we could say for a long time in this match. But does it really change anything? I don't think so. Well, you know what? Maybe I just keep the camera on the Templar Assassin. That's probably the most interesting thing. And then I'll go back to Dat Dota. Let's see if we can find any more records. How many Max Roshans have been taken? You know what? I don't know where to find that stat. Maybe under miscellaneous records? Roshan kills. There we are. Over all patches, the highest Roshan kills by a single hero is by Miracle's Gyrocopter. I want to look for a team. Oh, Hex. They catch the Tusk in mid. The Templar Assassin as well. The Abyssal Blade is going to go on the way of the Tusk. The Templar Assassin is going to run away. The defensive snowball is there, but even if they killed off the TA, even if they kill off the Tusk, everybody has buyback, but now they're going to force them out. For the first time in a long time, maybe this game is going to change. They're going for Mega Creeps. IG are inside the enemy base. They can taste it on their lips. This win, the tier 3 tower is going to be dropping very quickly. The Glyph is going to delay. Night Stalker has vision of this entire fight. He sees everything, pops his BKB, goes in the middle of it. They'll get the Abyssal. They're blowing up the Ancient Apparition. He's going to fall first. The Abyssal onto the Night Stalker, also going to make that a 1-for-1 trade. Night Stalker has buyback. Ancient Apparition does not. Their boots traveling in onto the Templar Solar Assassin trying to bring down these heroes with the mini bashes coming up from the gyrocopter, and maybe the proper bashes will be able to kill off something, but it's not fast enough. The gyrocopter's going down. He gets the reincarnation, but what does that matter when Luo himself is going to fall? Verizon in the middle of the mix. Gyrocopter's buying back. They want to get back into this fight. They want to end the game now, but maybe it's a little too overzealous. The bristleback is going to fall. Also has buyback. It's 3 against 5 for the Dream. Need to defend their base, though. The tier 4s are falling. And back to farming. At least for now. For the Dream have an opportunity to push mid, and they have an opportunity to change the state of this game. But is that going to matter? Can IG hold off for 6 minutes? Or maybe more importantly, can they kill off the Tusk and the Night Stalker? Even though they're not the most farmed heroes, just bringing anybody off the map for that 6-minute timing window is so important for them if they can manage to make that happen. The Night Stalker's vision made that last fight for the Dream. They saw everything. And now Boots travel in. They're going for Luo. Laguna Blade thrown. Refresher. Laguna Blade again. And they're going to be able to kill off the Gyrocopter down for 2 minutes. They're bashing up one. And they're going to be able to kill off the Clockwork. For the Dream are doing it. For the Dream are winning this game. And it looks like they're going to be able to take game 2 against IG. I don't think they can hold. And GG is called. 104 minutes in. I told you it'd be fast after just one fight. And it's gone. Well played for the Dream, coming back after a 2 barracks disadvantage. Granted, a lot of that comes from IG losing fights as they're going for trades on those racks. But really, it goes to show that a lot of bettors especially have underestimated how well For the Dream have been playing in the last couple weeks, and inside the group stage of the GameShow Global Esports Cup, tying up the series 1-1. We still have a full best of 5 ahead of us in the duration of where most teams probably could have played at least 2, maybe even 3 games. We've managed to finish off 1, and on top of a very awesome game number 1, too. Looking a lot more convincing for IG. We'll be back with game number 3 here on this channel. Don't go anywhere. I've been GrandisV. We'll be back with the GameShow Global Esports Cup coming up soon. See you there.